Hey guys, so this video is basically a follow-up to the last one where I kind of just left you sort of, like I gave you a brief sort of explanation of why I stopped leasing Atlanta, and this is just going to be slightly more of like exactly the reason. Like it wasn't just the one day kind of thing, that it was like, I'm not that petty that it's just like, oh, this one day, that's it, she did something, oh no, that's it. So let's get right into it. So basically, you're probably gonna see my Doge go up and down throughout the video. So this is Roxy. And she's like, I hate you right now. So, yeah. You're not gonna stare at me like you were before. Yeah? You're just gonna sleep? Okay. So, basically, I started leasing Atlanta last September. I had ridden her before that. Like, I had ridden her briefly a few years ago. But I started more seriously riding her last summer, starting in approximately August. And so I talked to my trainer and owner of Atlanta about leasing Atlanta. And so once we went over all the details and stuff, I started leasing her in September. And for the first few months it was perfect, like she was the best horse kind of thing. Like in September I jumped 3'3" on her for the first time, and she seemed to be the best horse ever, and I couldn't say anything bad about her at that point. So I was kind of seeing her through rose-colored glasses, thinking that, oh, she just did bad things for the last person, she's not gonna do that to me. So she a few times just after September, so in probably mid-October, that was probably the first time she spooked for me. So she spooked and she just cantered off while I was doing no stirrup work, and I just thought, oh, it was just a scary tractor went by, that was fine kind of thing. I thought it was just like a one-time thing, that's all she would ever do. And for that month, she was good. We didn't have any problems with her. She never really tried anything else that month, so I thought, oh, it's just a one-time thing. She's an angel the rest of the time. But all horses aren't angels, as we all know. They all have their quirks, and if they're a really good lesson pony, they're gonna probably be really lazy, or they're going to not take the turns that you want them to take or something. Like, they'll be very bomb-proof, but they won't be very technical. So Atlanta is better at being technical and doing like these little jump courses, but when it comes to being more of a lesson horse, that's not really her thing. So when she started doing more stuff was probably as it got more into the winter months. So obviously, like, the weather's getting colder, things are changing, it's getting more rainy. And so I think it was October or November, or not, probably November, late October or November. I was riding her around and she was doing fine, no spooking, no anything. And I was taking her around in canter circles, and then I took her over a jump, and I'm not sure if she got the wrong lead or we just got on a really wide turn, and there was another horse in the arena and she was going around and the other horse was here and the other horse spooked. And then Atlanta's like, oh, like, she must be spooking at something like scary, and then she jumps in the air and bucks, and I lose my stirrup and splat, I go on the ground. And so after that I lost a lot of confidence, like, and over the past few months I've been gaining that confidence back because I've been thinking, I think I sort of looked at it in the way of that, oh, she spooked because the other horse spooked, that wasn't her fault kind of thing. But then when she started doing more of like the small things that would just kind of scare me, like just randomly spook at this tractor that went by like a good 4 times, because we're in the country. She's been around tractors her whole life. You'd think that she would have gotten used to it by now, but apparently not. And like I've seen other people riding her and then randomly just random buck, it like huge buck just out of nowhere, and then they'll fall off. And it's not that they've ever gotten seriously injured, it's just that thing of, what if it was that little bit more serious, that she did get, like the person riding did get seriously injured, or I were to get seriously injured. And the little things of, like, I'd take her over a jump and I'd have to seriously put lots of pressure on the reins, or she would have just bolted right off of me. And like, I don't like putting a lot of pressure on their mouth. Like, I feel really bad that I'm like ripping their face off, and I don't like doing that. Like, if I put pressure on their face, like, I'm gonna have like a constant pressure, but not like enough that it's like hurting them. So when I'm having to pull her back so much to be able to, especially if it's a longer stride combination, so like a 10 stride or an 8 stride, where she doesn't know that there's another jump coming up that we're going to, and it's not like a 3 stride jump that she's actually like, oh, I'll slow down my stride kind of thing. So when she just like basically bolt off a certain way, and then it's like, well, if you're bolting off and then you spook, then what's gonna happen? And then when I try and slow her down, she'd buck, and it's just like, ugh. Like, it was just the little things like that where I'd sort of like shout it on the mat, like, this is okay, I don't have to worry about this, like, but like in the back of my mind it just kept building up, like there's more there and there's more there, and it's just like, ugh. Like, what do I do when this happens? And I feel like I started leasing her and thought I was more experienced than I actually was. So that kind of caught me off guard. And then just the random things of, we'd be cantering around and then she'd decide, oh, I don't have to canter circles for you, so then she'd just buck. Or she'd try and fake a spook and there'd be nothing there, and it's like, really? You're not spooking at something. Like, she really only spooks at traffic. So there's no traffic there. You're obviously just trying to get out of work. So it's just the little things that have been building up and sort of getting to me, and my confidence on her has just been going down to the point that it's just like, no, I don't feel like jumping you today. And it's just like, then I feel bad that I'm not jumping her, and then I go out and jump her and something bad does happen. And then it's just like, then it just reinforces that, like, I'm losing the motivation to go out and jump. And I really like jumping, so it's like, why is this happening? And then I think it sort of just reaffirmed it on the last Thursday, almost 2 weeks ago now, when I was, no, Tuesday I was riding her in a lesson, and she spooked a good 4 times. And one time she'd spook at the tractor, and then the next time she would be standing still and licking her lips, and she'd be totally fine. But it's not the fear, like, I can't say it's not the fear of falling off, because it is the fear of falling off in a way, but it's just like, I don't know what it really is. Like, the spooks really scare me. It's like, if she were to just randomly be bucking as I'm cantering, I don't really care about that. Or if, like, one of the smaller ponies that I ride tries to be bucking or rear or whatever, I'm totally fine with that. It doesn't faze me whatsoever. But the spooking just really gets me. It's just like, ugh. I don't know what it is about it, but their spooking spooks me. So when she was constantly doing that, I could feel myself almost starting to shake as I was riding. And my instructor was noticing that I was starting to sort of really pull back on the reins, and like I wasn't letting her go, and I was tensing up, and like I was just really, really tense every time a car went by, to the point where she's just like, okay, let's stop, let's stand still for a bit, and let's just relax, kind of thing. Like, and she was noticing that Atlanta wasn't doing things when I was tense, and she wasn't doing things when I was relaxed. So it was just like, it wasn't that Atlanta was really doing more when I was tense. I think Atlanta was possibly taking advantage of the fact that I was tense, but not to the point that she could say that, oh, you tensing up is why she's spooking, because she spooked on riders that aren't tense whatsoever. And after that, I was kind of nervous to ride her on Thursday, because I'm like, well, I don't have someone instructing me on how to keep going out of this, like, not that it's such a big thing of like you just keep the horse going, but you know, like your self-conscious mind is so weird, kind of thing. And it's just like, well, what if I can't deal with the spook, kind of thing. And so I rode her in the arena a bit, and it's just like I rode her for maybe 20 minutes and got off, because it's just like, well, she hasn't done anything yet, I should get off now. And it's just like, what am I getting out of, what is she getting out of me leasing her, and what am I getting out of this lease? Like, if I'm only taking her out for 20 minutes maybe and riding her, like, Atlanta loves to jump, and she loves to get out there. So if I'm only riding her for 20 minutes maybe every time I come, because I'm so nervous that I'm gonna like get bucked off, or she's gonna spook and I'm gonna fall off, then it's not really a good situation for either of us. And when I was bathing her on Thursday, and I knew she had a problem with it getting near her face, and she started being a brat with that, where I'd get the water near her face and she'd throw her head in the air, and she'd do that, and I'd just sort of get her used to it, and I got it on her face, and then I don't know what clicked when I put the soap on, that she was just like, well, I don't have to deal with this. And then she tried to trample me and like just like come right at me, and then she was trying to rear, and just like she'd come down from the rear and then try and trample me again, and then it's just like, I can't do this, kind of thing. And it's just like, if you consider the size difference, like Atlanta is 15'1" and I'm 5'2", so at Atlanta's withers, she's the same height as I am approximately, even slightly taller than I am. So I have a hard time controlling her if she's throwing her head in the air and she's a good 3 feet taller than I am, you know? So at that point, it kind of just like, I need a break, kind of thing. Like, I'm not saying that, like, that just kind of reaffirmed everything after the spooking and the last few months of her continuously getting worse. Like, I'm not sure if, like, it's probably a good chunk of it was the weather was getting a lot worse, but still, like, if I'm only able to ride her when the weather's good and it's really windy a lot of the time, which it was, then it sort of was just like, well, I'd have to tell my instructor, well, I don't think I can ride this week, like, it's too windy, kind of thing. Like, and it was just kind of sad, because it's just like, well, there goes another week that we can't ride, kind of thing. And I'd sort of get depressed when I saw the weather report being windy, because it's like, well, there it goes, my lesson this week, or my chance of riding. And it just wasn't really helping with, like, I'd take up a lot of time at home just thinking about, like, oh, was I doing this wrong? Is that why she did this? And just trying to, like, mentally, like, make sense of it all. But it's just like, horses are flight animals. You're not going to make sense of all the situations. So that's part of, so those are the main reasons I came to this conclusion. And I'm not saying that this is a full-time, like a permanent thing. Like I'll never ride Atlanta again, like I'll never lease her again. But the main reason I'm starting to lease Little One is because I just need a break where I have a horse that is way more predictable, and like even if she's more lazy and like more hard to get going, like I kind of just need that break from the unpredictability that really sort of was sort of draining me. Like after the time at the barn, I'd just be exhausted. So I hope that kind of clears up the stuff. And I know there was some people that were like, well, that's just what horses do kind of thing, especially like thoroughbreds and breeds like her. But it's just like, yes, that might be a thing that they do, but that also doesn't mean that I have to deal with that. And I kind of just, like, I'm not saying I'm giving up on Atlanta, I just need probably a solid month of just sort of getting my confidence back and not feeling fearful to ride a certain horse. So I hope I haven't bored you too much with just looking at my face the entire video and not having any cute ponies, like other than like my cute horse wall. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I hope that cleared up a few things or a few confusion in the video. And don't forget to go out there and love your ponies. Goodbye.